Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Saturday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. HUDCO Roofing, HUDCORoofing.com, Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com, and ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. In Las Vegas, here at the beautiful Renaissance Hotel. Of course, Renaissance and BR is a great sponsor of the show, but I just happen to be Marriott Bonvoy member. So, 15th floor, one block off the strip there. 15th floor, beautiful mountain views out there. Club lounge access, all that sort of stuff. So, shout out to my Marriott peeps. Marriott Bonvoy. It's a great membership club. All right, so let's see. LSU baseball beat Butler yesterday, 12-2. Did not watch it. I was here in Vegas. So did not see a pitch. Did read the game story, read the box score. Paul Skeens dominant again. No surprise. 13 strikeouts in 6 innings. Holy moly. Got to see Gavin Guidry pitch last night, which was cool. And Dylan Cruz hit a 3-run bomb. So it's pretty crazy, man. It's always nice when your stars act like stars. And LSU's did yesterday with Skeens and Cruz. So LSU wins 12-2. They'll play Central Connecticut State today and tomorrow, and then Butler again on Monday. So 4-game series. And tonight's UFC 285. It's why we're here in Vegas. So I'm excited about it. A lot of buzz around the town, and they have a NASCAR race here on Sunday, and the XFL team. I believe they're the Vipers, the Las Vegas Vipers. I might be wrong, but the XFL team is staying in this hotel. So I guess they play a game. I don't know if they play today or they play tomorrow, whatever. But they're staying in this hotel, so they're occupying all the meeting space, and the guys are walking around. Brett Hundley is their court. Remember Brett Hundley from UCLA played for Green Bay. I want to say maybe Baltimore too. Brett Hundley's on the team, so I saw Brett Hundley in the lobby. Anyway, really good night last night. Went to dinner. Had a great dinner at the SW Steak inside of the Wynn. Jimmy Ott recommendation. Magnificent steakhouse. And made our way over to walked across the street to the Palazzo and hung out there for a bit. Then went to the Aria for a bit. So just kind of hopped around to all the different resorts, and then came back, went to sleep, and just had breakfast. Now doing morning scone. All right, let's see what y'all got. You know the drill. Fire away. If you're on YouTube, smash that like button. We're YouTube only today, so YouTube, please smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Trivia Carter, what's going on? Brian Pinton, Devin Kelly, what's up? Does Jones dominate tonight? What if he destroys Gone? I'm really interested, Devin. I don't. There isn't any strong consensus, and there's obviously a lot of people in Vegas who are fight fans. It was maybe y'all know Joe Fortenbaugh. Joe Fortenbaugh from Daily Wager, ESPN betting analyst. We saw Joe. He's been on AFR before, so I saw Joe yesterday in the Palazzo last night, and introduced myself. We talked for a bit. So everyone we talk to, there's no real consensus. It's kind of like, John Jones hasn't fought in a couple of years, but he's still John Jones. He's 248 pounds, which is bigger than any of us have ever seen John Jones, but his body can certainly carry 248. Is the stamina there? We'll see. So, I think, Devin, one of two things happens tonight, man. John Jones wins, and we go, of course he did. He's John Jones. Or John Jones loses, and we see the beginning of the end. We go, well, bring Rust and going up to heavyweight, and every great fighter eventually has their day. Their day comes. And so tonight it's going to be one of those two things. John Jones cements his legacy as the greatest of all time, or we start to see the beginning of the end of John Jones. So I don't know, but I'm sure glad I'm here to watch it. So, all right. Wendell Norman, Russell Doloff, good morning from the 318. Okay. Edward O, Nuss Bus Driver, Gon's going to smash Jones. Maybe, brother, I'm going to tell you though, watching those two dudes in the face off, you know, fighters have trouble. Look, there's a reason weight classes exist, right? Jones been a 205, um, light heavy his whole career. And we've seen guys try to go up in weight class and they struggle. Sometimes we see guys cut weight and struggle because they deplete their strength by going so far down in weight. But Jones is one of those because he's 6'5", 6'6". I don't know that he's going to have trouble adding the weight, man. But it's going to be fascinating to watch. Cliff Nelson, good morning. Nice view. Gonna whiskey hunt while in town. Probably, Cliff. We have the day, well, at least the morning. The fights start here at 3 o'clock. So the early prelims start at 3 Pacific. So it's 8 o'clock here, I think. There's no clock in this room. That's weird. There's no clock in this room. Anyway, it's like 8 o'clock. So I'm probably gonna get a workout in, and then a shower, and I'll have the morning. So I'll hop around town. I want to go to the Pawn Stars place. I want to go to the gold and silver pawn shop from the show. So I don't know where it is, how far it is from where I am, but I want to go check that out. And yes, Cliff, if I see liquor stores, of course I'm not going to pop in. Hunter Broadhead, Brett DeGrow, light on tonight, okay? Nicholas Cantrell, good morning, who you been on tonight? Nicholas, that's the other thing too, man. It's like, I need to circle back to Fortenbaugh, because he said, text me, I'll give you the bets for every fight that he's making, because there's not tremendous value just betting money lines on these fights, because, I mean, like Valentina is like minus 1,800. I mean, it's ridiculous. Minus 800. So you gotta pick basically like how the fight ends, or what round it ends, or some of the props associated with it. So, and I'm not good enough at that to know where I should bet. So I do like I think nickel is the first fight on the main card. I like him a lot. I'm not looking at the card right now. Anyway, let's see. Joey B19, what do you think about Dellinger reporting our permanent opponents would be Alabama, A&M, and Ole Miss? That's interesting. I mean, my feeling, as I said before, I thought it would be A&M and the Mississippi schools. So A&M, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. You'd essentially be taking Bama and swapping Ole Miss, Mississippi State. I didn't read Ross's article. Somebody did ask me about that, though. I know who it was. It was Ryan Fowler from does radio in Tuscaloosa. Asked me about that. I think I would be surprised if it happened that way, because Bama would get, in that scenario, Bama would get Auburn, Tennessee, LSU. And man, that's a heavy lift, man. I don't know. And I don't know if Ross was guessing, or if he was saying that's like what's going to happen. I don't know. But okay, if it's been determined or not, I need to go read it. Let's see. Boo Daddy, don't they have a basketball tournament in Vegas soon? I think so. There's some basketball going on here right now, as a matter of fact. Cliff Nelson, NASCAR and hockey, two best sports there are, so much better in person. That are so much better in person. You know, Cliff, so I think you're right about that. But I went to Talladega in '05, and after about 10 minutes was bored out of my mind, man. I would agree that it's better in person than it would be on TV, but whew, that was still a tough watch. Hey, Dad, good morning. Um, Ryan Pike, not a big baseball guy, but is it too soon to admit LSU struggles against lefty pitchers? Um, so, Ryan, I can't give you a great answer as to what happened yesterday, but that's also by nature of the game true because there are fewer lefties than there are righties. So, lefties that can command the zone generally do give hitters a tough time. Joseph Fine, Vegas, baby, Vegas. Cortland Jacob Dellinger report creates scheduling issues for LSU. If those permanent opponents are correct, LSU will have to schedule a non-conference game for the final weekend every year. So Cortland, I didn't see it, but someone else said that A&M and Texas would be paired in that scenario, and it doesn't necessarily mean that A&M and Texas would play on the final weekend. I mean, the old saying, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. I mean, you're gonna expand the conference. Some things are gonna change. Like when A&M left the Big 12 and came into the SEC, they lost their rivalry game with Texas. I mean, when Nebraska went to the Big 10, they lost their game with Oklahoma. I mean, some of the things that exist as they do now aren't going to be able to exist as it will be because of that expansion, which is how it's going to have to be. Let's see, Devin, Talladega is awesome, crazy experience. It's hell getting out of there though. Devin, I did not have an awesome experience at Talladega. I'll tell you, man, it was a lot of people. The cars were really loud when they passed, but it's cars going in a circle for 3 hours. It's just not that exciting. It was not for me, man. It was not for me. Cody Kibido, the Mob Museum is a great stop. They have a moonshine distillery and house. Okay. Let's see. Brett DeGrow, I'll take a bottle of E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof if you find it. I bet you would. Nicholas Cantrell, Gold and Silver is in a sketchy area off the strip. Also, most of the liquor stores off the strip have allocated bottles at ridiculous prices. I would assume that, Nicholas, that I mean that's kind of Vegas, right? If you're gonna find something allocated on a shelf, you're gonna find really. That's not just Vegas. If you're gonna find something allocated, generally on a shelf, generally it's going to be at a ridiculous markup because the retailer knows that some rich person will come in and buy it. So last week when we were in Napa, we stopped for lunch at a place. And I can't remember if this was in Napa or Sonoma. I think we were in like downtown Napa, and we stopped for lunch, and it came at upon recommendation by somebody at one of the places we've stopped before. So it was a barbecue joint, oddly, but we stop and have lunch, and they're like, yeah, well, they also have great whiskey selection there as well, both at the bar and for sale. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So we go there and sure enough, I mean, they have some allocated bottles for sale. And somebody came in and bought an E.H. Taylor small batch, which retail on an E.H. Taylor small batch is probably $50. I don't have like a retail list in front of me, but again, it's probably $45-$50, like retail. I looked at the price on this thing, and it was like $300, and I was like, no. And somebody walked in right behind me and bought it. And I just like shook my head. I'm like, that's why this happens. Because somebody is going to walk in, not know what they're buying or what a fair price is, and just think, oh, this is a really expensive bottle. I'm going to buy this. Or I've seen this before. I'm going to buy this. So that's why I do it. All right, smash that like button if you would. Where are we? Joey B19 Saban came out and said he isn't happy. They're giving them LSU, Auburn, and Tennessee. So again, my question is, what was is that final? Like, has the SEC announced that, or was that just a Dellinger report as to what's being considered? Excuse me. Sorry. Educator Matt, who do you think LSU weekend rotation will become SEC play? What casino you stayed at? I stayed at Bellagio. We're at the Renaissance. We're off strip. I'm not staying at a casino. I used my Marriott Bonvoy points to stay here, and it's a great hotel. So we're about a block off the strip. We're directly across from the Wynn. So I mean, like, you walk out here, you're looking directly at the Wynn across that golf course. So weekend rotation, I think it'll end up Skeens, Hurd, Shores is I think how it'll end up. Right. Cortland, if A&M and Texas don't play Thanksgiving, who would Texas play? Move the Red River rivalry out of their traditional spot? Could. They could absolutely do that. They could play maybe Arkansas if they end up with that, but the Oklahoma game would make a lot of sense. Look, I mean, I'm going to say it again, like, you can't expect everything to fit perfectly. I mean, you're expanding the league. So, I mean, what did LSU do on the final weekend of the season before Arkansas came into the league and they paired them together? I mean, things are going to change and you just get accustomed to it. I mean, look at LSU's schedule this year, how they're playing Arkansas earlier and Florida later. And I mean, Arkansas in September and Florida in November is going to be weird, but it's just what it is. I mean, you're going to see changes on the schedule. That's not necessarily a bad thing either. Let's see, I think NASCAR would be better on TV because you can come in and out and not be stuck. Cliff, from what I understand, it's the proposed schedule that wink wink is pretty much how it's going to go. Saw an article yesterday where Saban complained about Bama getting Tennessee, LSU, and Auburn so good. I don't blame him. I mean, if you're LSU and that's what you were saddled with, you would say the same thing. Like if LSU got Bama, Auburn, Florida, I mean, that would be horrendous. I mean, we complained about LSU's permanent opponent being Florida because LSU got the short straw there, and they did. So I don't blame him. I don't blame Nick. I mean, my assumption was they would get Auburn, Tennessee, and Vandy, the way I kind of sketched it all out. But anyway, curious if that's how it's going to go. Jeff G, watch the last lap of NASCAR and you've seen the whole race. I don't get the fascination, but to each their own. Half the time they're driving slow because of caution. Dave Vendeur, if you go to the MGM Grand Security office, you may see a guy dancing with an extension cord. Plausible deniability. I don't get it. Brandon Tilley, morning Scone. Enjoy the fight tonight. Thank you, man. Let's see. In one season, would you consider Skeens one of the best LSU pitchers ever if he continues on his trajectory? I mean, if he becomes the first overall pick and wins National Pitcher of the Year and leads LSU to a championship, absolutely. I mean, Lloyd Peaver had one of the greatest individual seasons in LSU history. He was here for 1 year. So, yeah, I mean, I think let that play out, though. Brad David, are you upset the LSU Florida rivalry and the rivalry was always so exciting? Brad, no, I'm not actually. Sad that it would end, and it wasn't always so exciting. I mean, it was pretty horrendous during the '90s, actually, um, when Florida just ran roughshod all over LSU under Spurrier. Um, and it's not ending. It's just not going to play every year. They'll play every other year, which is fine with me. So, um, if that's the trade-off to have an equitable schedule where some games that you're used to seeing, like I love the LSU Auburn game. LSU Auburn is my favorite LSU series. That's not going to be played every year. Auburn's going to get Bama, Georgia, and TBD, but maybe Kentucky or somebody like that. But anyway, no, I mean I'm not sad about it, Brad. Um, I understand that some people will, and everybody has their favorite games and matchups that they like to see. But um, no, I mean for me, it's more. I would rather an equitable schedule where you play everybody in the league over twice over a 4 year period. You know, where it's not as impactful if one of the divisions is up or down, right? Like if the East being very weak is a huge benefit to Georgia because they're great and half their league schedule more than half their league schedule, obviously. Um, 6 of their 8 games are against the East, which is weak. So I would much rather them have to play more West teams, right? I'd much rather a more equitable schedule. If that means losing some of the rivalries, the annual rivalries to every other year, I'm good with that. Um, Cortland, Oklahoma has the easiest schedule of the good teams. Cliff, NASCAR can be tough if you're A, not a car guy, B, not invested in a driver. Gotta have earplugs when you go live. Yeah, I'm not a car guy and I'm not invested in drivers. That does make sense. Damon Gilmore, what's up? Nicholas Cantrell, Texas, Oklahoma, not at the state fair. Is going to piss off a lot of people. Not the schools, but the city of Dallas. But Nicholas, I don't care. Like, I understand that, but there are going to be casualties. Like that's the nature of it. You don't like this. The entire Southeastern Conference isn't going to be held hostage by the Texas State Fair. I mean, it's stupid. Like think about what I just said out loud. So, um, and by the way, I'm not saying that Texas and Oklahoma is moving off of that date. I'm not saying that. I don't know, but it's just very obvious that as you move Texas and OU into the league, schedules are going to change, and a lot of things that have been set on traditional dates or whatever it may be aren't going to be that. And games we're used to seeing every year aren't going to happen every year. So that's sort of the, the cost of doing business. And it really doesn't bother me. Like I'm not romantic about Texas and Oklahoma playing during the Texas State Fair. I don't care. I'm not romantic about Texas and Texas A&M playing on Thanksgiving weekend. I don't care. I'm not romantic about LSU playing A&M on Thanksgiving weekend. I don't care when they play. Um, I just want better games and a more equitable schedule. That's what I want to see. Prescott or P Scott, excuse me. Morning, Scope. What's the most intriguing thing about this year of spring football? Quarterback. I mean, they gave every third series in the bowl game to Nussmeier, and Walker Howard's left. So, what if they don't give? I mean, what if they don't give Nussmeier first team reps? Does he leave? And what if they do? And you have a quarterback controversy. I mean, that's the most interesting to me. Um, and then I think all the cornerbacks replacing. I mean, you're replacing all of your cornerbacks. So who wins those jobs? And I don't know if we'll know that in spring, but I think we'll have an idea of who maybe has the lead going into fall. Rube D, follow the money. SEC isn't districting LSU Bama if they don't have to. Yeah, Rube D, like that. I understand your point, but like that actually doesn't make sense. Like LSU Bama doesn't make money for the league. Um, the conference TV schedule is what it is, and you're not ditching LSU Bama. It just wouldn't happen every year. It would happen every other year. It's not like the game would be going away forever, like Nebraska and Oklahoma when Nebraska left for the Big Ten. The game's not going away forever. It would just be played every other year, and that one game over the life of a media rights deal doesn't do it, and it's not a pay-per-view, man. So that the follow the money thing doesn't actually make sense. Weston Weaver, morning Matt, slightly jealous. Seeing Jones come back live is going to be sick. Weston, I've been fortunate, man. This will be my third consecutive Jones fight I've seen. I saw him against Tiago and against Reyes. So one was in Vegas, one was in Houston, and now this one. So I'm pretty fortunate, man. Got to see Anderson Silva fight Chael Sonnen back in 2012. I've never seen Connor fight live, but I've been able to see a lot of good ones, man. Got to see Forrest Griffin. Got to see Tito. Seen Valentina a couple of times now. Got to see Holly Holm. Shoot, man, if I start rattling them off, I'm forgetting them. I've seen a lot. I've been fortunate to see a lot of fights. Let's see, Cortland, the schedule would fall so much easier if they put Texas A&M and Oklahoma against Missouri. LSU, Arkansas is the final weekend. Damon, I got Jones as the underdog when the line came out. Can't wait for tonight. Oh, no kidding. Really? Jones is minus 170 now. At least that's what it was in the books we read yesterday. If I had plus money on Jones, I would take that for sure. Minus 170, not so much. My bet might be that Jones gone goes the distance. Like that may be the better bet, which doesn't really happen often in heavyweight fights, but it might in this one. Joey Medkey, good morning. Have fun. Enjoy the fight. Thank you, brah. Palumbos. Took my father-in-law to Daytona. I decided NASCAR's hours of boredom with a couple moments of excitement surrounded by a huge party, not for us. It's about right. It's about right. Devin, I think it's awesome that we'll get to play everyone in the league on a regular basis. I agree. I mean, that's kind of been, Devin, I think that's kind of been my point. And I think, Devin, I think most people, most fans, once the schedules happen and you see how frequently you're going to get to play everybody, I think people will come around more on it and understand. Brant Roban, it will not hurt my feelings if we didn't play Bama every year. Exactly. Craig Dugas, none of this matters. You eventually have 2 mega conferences. I don't know if you'll head to 2. How the structure works in interconference play may change, but I don't think we're heading to 2. Nicholas Cantrell, I 100% agree. Moves will break some traditions. I would love for LSU to have Vandy, Kentucky, and A&M. How about Vandy, Kentucky, and Mizzou? David, if Texas and Oklahoma wanted their Red River rivalry game, they should have stayed in the Big 12. Bingo. That's the point. You wanted to keep everything exactly as it is? Don't leave. Brett DeGrow, neutral site rivalry is stupid. I'll give up a home gate every other season. Home and home is better for season ticket holders. I don't know the history behind that game, why they played in Dallas and all that sort of stuff. A lot of times that usually is rooted in some political wrangling, but I have no idea. Edward O, what's going on? Cortland, Georgia and Florida keeping theirs. Yeah, they keep a neutral site. I don't care what they do. I mean, I don't care if people keep a neutral site rivalry. That's fine. Let them do what they want. And that may end up going back on campus. Craig Duga, Mama Mulkey's fit was so fire, they had to turn on the sprinklers in the arena to cool her off. Okay. Cortland, I'm just point out logistics of it. 6 teams don't currently have locked in state rivalry games for the final game. Those 6 teams have to play each other in some capacity, or they don't. Cortland, I mean, the SEC could choose to schedule its conference games on the final weekend of the season, and all those teams that the Georgia Tech, Florida State, Kentucky, Louisville, all this, they could all have to move their games to different points in the season. They could. I mean, Corley, I understand what you're saying, but the problem is that in your proposed scenario, you're unwilling to. I'm not saying, but you see what I'm saying. Like you're accepting as fact certain realities, which I don't think anything needs to be accepted as fact. If it's Red River rivalry on that weekend, if it's the non-conference games on the final weekend, like all that stuff doesn't have to be accepted as fact. I mean, the league can schedule how they want to schedule. And of course, they want to do what's in the best interest of their partners and of the league members. And you want to make sure you try to keep as many of those things in mind as you can, but you can't be beholden to those things and compromise your entire schedule as a result. Again, I'm not saying, to be clear, I'm not saying that all those rivalry games are going to move. I'm just saying they can move. Any of them can move. Jacob Knight, morning, Matt. Tough one for the Pels last night. Golden State did everything they could to keep them in it, but they couldn't capitalize. Kuminga was a pest all night for BI. Yes, all they lost. Derek Purdy E.H. Taylor at the distillery, $45 last week. Every store in the area, $135. That's about right. Tom Granny, good morning. Beautiful day in Natchez. Okay. Eddie O, if it goes the distance and is close, UFC will give it to Jones. It's an entertainment business after all. Yeah, that's a dumb comment. I'm not saying you're dumb. I think that's a dumb comment. I mean, the judges aren't sitting there comparing their scores. I think sometimes fans don't know how fights are scored, and what judges are looking for. And so sometimes there's this feel like I remember the Gustafsson fight was such a big deal whenever Jones fought Gustafsson in 2015. And a lot of people thought Gustafsson won the fight. And I mean, I've had judges explain to me how that fight scored and like why Jones won the fight. I mean, anyway. But fixing outcomes is the worst thing that any sports league or promotion could do. So I always push back when people say, "Oh, it's fixed, it's rigged." The refs gave it to them, this or that. It's just the league, the NFL wanted them to win. If that were the case, then like the Dallas Cowboys would be in the Super Bowl every year. Who becomes wide receiver 2? I think Brian Thomas makes the step. Hopefully, if Hilton is healthy, spring and fall. Who pulls away the running back competition? Well, I mean, your running back competition thing is what it is. I mean, you got everybody back, just the same as it was a year ago. And I agree on Brian Thomas is number 2 behind Malik. I'm excited to see the new guys come in. Zachary Snyder, morning, Scone. I'm not fully understanding the no consecutive timeout rule they're implementing. It's basically so you couldn't like ice the kicker back to back. Is really where it would most apply. So you just, like if you have 2 timeouts, you couldn't call them back to back to ice a kicker. Craig Duga, seriously, how is it possible for rain delay in an indoor arena? Where did that happen? Scooter Allen, car signs next week. Ugh. A roof vent blew open and let rain in. Where? I think they had one in the men's tournament because of tornado warning. No, they didn't have, Cortland, they didn't have rain in the arena at the men's tournament. That was 2008 in Atlanta. The tornado obviously ripped through the Georgia Dome and so that through downtown Atlanta, and they cleared the arena. And so because there was damage to the arena, they ended up moving the rest of the tournament to Georgia Tech. That was the year Georgia won it. Georgia won it as like, the 10 seed in the tournament. It's crazy. Zachary Hardy, morning, man. Paul Skeen's real. is the real C right now. I guess you probably meant real deal. Yes, Paul Skeens is the real deal. We talked about it a lot whenever he committed, but I think a lot of people just didn't see him pitch at Air Force, so you didn't really know. But um, I mean, he's a potential 1-1 guy. I mean, he's a potential first pick of the draft guy, and you're seeing why. I mean, you have a true dominant ace. Um, Cliff Nelson, Musso did Tigers in the pros yesterday. Smith was mentioned. No one yelled Calici as the PD. What are you going to do? Cliff, there will be repercussions. Absolutely. When I get back, there will be hell to pay. I mean, we're talking like manual labor that will be done around the building as punishment. Cortland, am I crazy? Didn't it used to be illegal to call back-to-back timeouts? I don't remember that. Cortland, I don't remember that, honestly. Maybe I don't remember that. Eduardo Musa did a great job yesterday. Yeah, man, Musa's on a roll. I told, I had a conversation with him not long ago. Just, I can understand for, a guy who's been around now for a bit and is in his late 20s, you kind of get antsy. You want your opportunity to host a show. You want to be. I mean, that's pretty much everybody's goal when they get in the business. And I told him, let's bro, stick it out. Like, you're capable. Not everyone is. Not everyone is capable. Like, not everyone is capable of hosting a solo show or a stand. Like, it's just the reality. Not everyone is. He is. He's got to be patient. His opportunity will come. Yeah, but he's doing a great job, man. Love that he's getting those opportunities too to keep getting reps. Oh, the women's game was delayed for water getting in. Got it. Yeah, y'all, I'm telling you, we flew here, and the time change throws everything off as well, right? So, we flew here. We left New Orleans at 12:50. It was the only direct flight we could get. It was on Frontier, so we drove to New Orleans. I'd always rather fly to Baton Rouge, but if I can get a direct flight on a 4-hour flight, of course I'll drive 45 minutes to the New Orleans airport and fly to there. But anyway, but yeah, so we flew. And we landed here at 2 o'clock local time, which would have been 4 o'clock Baton Rouge time. Then everything's so thrown off. So went to dinner last night and didn't get to watch anything. So I'm excited about the fight side. It's a beautiful day, man. It's cold here too. Like the nighttime temps are getting in the 30s. Daytime high around 60. Nighttime temps are. Right. Let's see. Zachary Snyder, if you call timeout and the defense comes out in a look you don't like, are you stuck running the play or icing the kicker situation? Yeah, that's that. In that scenario, I think you couldn't call a back-to-back timeout. Are we going to see Musso and Hunt together 1-3 once SEC play starts? No. No, that's not a lineup change we're going to make. Scooter Allen forgot to add being parent of an autistic child is challenging. Kudos to you and your wife. Love you guys. Thank you, Scooter. Very kind, man. And best to you and your family as well. It's true, man. Drew doesn't have autism, but I know I believe what you're saying is that your child is autistic. But yeah, man. Having a special needs child is it's certainly challenging, but it's also an amazing blessing, right? Because your children completely change your perspective on life and how you see the world. So, as a parent, though, people do tell me all the time, like, oh, I don't like how you do it, or y'all been through so much. But the thing is, I think all of the emotions though that you feel as a parent are relatable no matter what. Like, for example, like I could be worried or nervous or anxious or any of those things, but for Drew, it's just different things to be worried about. Maybe it's like his heart or doctor's come or something like that. But for you, maybe it's like your kid driving for the first time. I mean, the emotion is the exact same. It's just different things that cause that emotion, I think. So, but that's very nice of you, Scooter. Thank you. Drew's our greatest blessing, man. Cortland, I didn't mean rain in the arena for the men's tournament. I meant weather delay. Yes. Okay. Gotcha. Sorry. Sometimes I think you get it, man. Sometimes it's hard as I'm reading the comments. Sometimes it's hard to know context, and we're kind of blow and go here. But I appreciate everybody watching as always. Please. Oh, by the way, YouTube, please smash the like button if you're new. Please subscribe up to the channel. Brought to you by Brock, Indian Orthopedics. You go to Brock. The after hours clinic is always open on weekends. Great alternative to the ER. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. It's pretty incredible. I don't want to sling mud and name names, but like if you do just a quick Google search, like you'll find, but there are several roofing companies in the area that had really bad ethical issues post Ida and are gone now. So I always say, man, do business with someone you know, and we're jamming. Very, very grateful. You know, everybody who's trusted Hudco, and as much as we've grown since we opened the Baton Rouge Hudco, a few years ago now. It's been pretty awesome. So thanks to everybody. Of course, I always tell you about Restored Motions. Crystal Poche over at Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com, and ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. Wanted to tell you real quick though, with the ProCharge piece, if you're a business owner, you have any type of brick and mortar place, there are two ways really that an electric charger at your business makes sense. One, obviously, is an amenity to your customers, your employees, whatever the case may be, right? And research shows that adding an electric vehicle charger to your business will bring roughly 7 additional customers per week into your business. So that's one. I mean, obviously makes sense, right? People stop, they charge their car, they come in. But 2 is also, it can become a revenue generator because there are tap to pay options in the same way that someone would stop at a gas pump and tap to pay. If someone has an EV and they need to find a charger, they can tap to pay at your charger. So you can generate passive income that way, or passive revenue. So ProChargeEV.com, ProChargeEV.com. Let's see, a couple more here. Cliff, smash that like button. Thank you, bro. P. Scott, Matt, how long did the head coach for men's basketball at LSU? I understand. How long did the head coach for men's basketball at LSU? Oh, how long is your leash? I mean, he got an 8-year contract. I'm going to continue saying this. There's a reason the man got an 8-year contract. He inherited a terrible situation. So I can't even begin to think about the leash until I know what the punishments are for the NCAA stuff. Because how do you go recruit if you can't tell a recruit you have an opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament, if there's going to be scholarship restrictions? Like, how do you recruit not knowing those things? I know that's not the answer that people want to hear, but, John Brady inherited a team that was on probation and won 2 conference games his first year. And then by year 3, he had won the SEC and was in the Sweet 16. Give him time. Daniel Blunt, good morning. After the results came back, I'm starting to think Carr isn't coming here, and we end up trying to draft a quarterback this year. Do you think Jimmy G is possible? No, I don't. I mean, well, possible, sure, but I don't think that's the route they're going to. He's going to have other options. Brandon McGlynn, what's up? I did watch the LSU women's game yesterday. Alexis Morris and Angel Reese were killing it as a dynamic duo. Very cool. Zachary Hardy, good morning. Where did you fly? We're in Vegas. So came for my brother-in-law Jeff and I came for UFC 285. So left yesterday, fights today, flying home tomorrow morning. Our flight out of Vegas is like 9 o'clock in the morning, so we'll be home tomorrow. Be home tomorrow early. So, let's see. I don't understand why Saints fans want a marginally better quarterback who can't win a Super Bowl just to save Dennis Allen's job instead of drafting a quarterback that can potentially be better. Yeah, Corlin. So the one thing I would push back, I don't think it's to save Dennis Allen's job. I think it's that they just don't want to tank, right? That's at least that's what I hear. Like T-Bob and I had that conversation on Scone and T this week, and he's like, I just don't want to be bad. I just don't want to lose. I just don't want to be a 2-win team. I don't want to go through a 2-15 season. Um, and I get that, but I would take the 2-15 season if taking the step back allowed me to propel forward to a championship again. But if you can do like the Chiefs did, I mean, look, the Chiefs won 11 games the year they drafted Patrick Mahomes. The year before, they just traded up to the 10 spot to take it. And remember, they had Alex Smith. Um, we've seen that before, where teams will trade up to get their guy and never really have to bottom out the way that the Bengals did to draft Burrow. So, all right. Gregory Gordy, one more. Let's see. Edwardo, Saints fans don't want to go back to the brown bag days. I'm with you, man. Look, I don't want that. I don't want that either, man. Y'all know I'm as big a Saints fan as anybody. But I'm willing to lose for a year if that's what puts you in position to win. Like, draft a rookie quarterback, take your lumps. I mean, Peyton Manning was 3-13 his first year in Indy. It worked out okay. Maybe you don't have to fully regress like that. Maybe you can sign a veteran that helps you, be a playoff contender and draft the guy who ends up hitting. Maybe you get your Russell Wilson in round 3. Maybe you get your Jalen Hurts in round 2. All right. You don't have to tank necessarily. Picking in the 20s for a decade doesn't get you a quarterback. Yes, unless if you trade up, right? I mean, that's the Kansas City model. Like, Kansas City they had Alex Smith. They won 11 games. They traded up to number 10 and took Patrick Mahomes, and he's the best quarterback in football. So, you have to hit, right? You got to hit on the guy that you pick. But I agree also, like, you got to be willing to make the pick. Plant-based Drew, I love that. We have to prep for the future. All right, I think we're just about done, y'all. Who's that? Jared Esprit. Morning. Hope you're enjoying your time. Thank you, Jared. Appreciate that. Very kind of you. I mean, I am. Had a really nice day yesterday. Easy flight. Good dinner last night. Good people, good company, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the fights tonight. So, all right. Let's wrap this thing up, y'all. Have an awesome day. Thanks so much for watching. Please, 105 watching live, only 40 likes. If we could smash that like button, I would really appreciate it. So smash the like button, subscribe up to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Also, I'm going to start, I got to remind you every day, Best of 225 voting is open, and very honored to be nominated again for Best Radio Personality. If you would please vote, I would really appreciate it. And also 104.5 ESPN nominated for Best Radio Station. Please go to the Best of 225. Because I'm on my phone right now, I can't post the link, but maybe somebody watching, maybe our admin, Trivia, maybe you could do that. Or Cliff, or one of y'all, if you wouldn't mind, like, just go grab the Best of 225 ballot and post it in the comments. That'd be really cool. I'd appreciate it. So, okay, y'all have an awesome day. Appreciate y'all so much for watching. Have a great Saturday. And no, Cortland, I think anybody can drop a link in the comments. Links don't post. Okay, interesting. I didn't know that. Okay, well, either way, if you could, then when we're done, if you could just Google Best of 225 2023, and you'll see the ballot right there. So, anyway, all right, y'all have an awesome day. Thanks so much for watching. As always, have a great Saturday. Peace.